That steps for losers, man. I don't get involved in that stuff, but
Angel Rashad Milligan rolling out.
That's a good question.
Brandon,
We
you want one
can't, we
quick
can't, we
question?
can't ask Rashad questions.
You know, we have the hip hop awards, but we still give, hip hop is just due at the BET Awards. Let's do the same for gospel music and show it that respect, because it's not just Kurt Franklin, Kurt Franklin, Kurt Franklin. Salute to Kurt Franklin. Kurt Franklin is dope, but goodness gracious, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's all I was saying with that. As I clock in to work, and I got 15 minutes before my first meeting for the day. So yes, we will be ending pretty soon. And then so the next thing I looked at Dez versus Jay Cinco play basketball in the essence of time. Oh yeah, should I play it again? No, I'll skip that. I'll skip this again. I'll skip this again. Cuff him. He trolled Aiden Ross talking about why Kai Cenat no longer hangs with them, and how Kai Cenat got the Drake stream without having to pay, or without having stake kind of involved in things of that sort, as opposed to where he was on Aiden stream for the sake of their corporate interests and things of that sort. And he said, I love Kai. He said, if you love Kai so much, if that's your man's, why don't you call him right now? And he said, I miss Kai. And things of that sort. And then I think this was the last thing that I went over, and it was from Pastor Tim Ross, friend of the channel. Y'all make sure y'all check out my interview with Tim Ross, and from a couple years ago. And he said something that was just very profound. He just said the key to continuing to yearn for his wife just included the way that he acted in public. So here he goes.
The reason why I have a strong sexual appetite for my wife is because I don't go eat burgers and fries and shakes when I'm out. I eat when I get home. My eyes, I don't go feast on other women's bodies all day and then compare my wife's body that I've been with for 26 years to somebody's body that ain't even 26 years old.
It is so true that if a man is like, oh, I'm not attracted to my wife anymore. Look at his search history. Look at what he's looking at on social media. It is not normal for a married man to go and look at all these naked women on a screen. Of course, he's not going to be attracted to his wife anymore. He's meeting his sexual appetite. He's feeding it with a bunch of other women. Sometimes I'll even hear a woman say, I don't care if my man looks but doesn't touch. One day he's going to get bored of you, because he has feasted his eyes on every other woman he had access to. Whenever a man says something like, I can't imagine being with one woman for the rest of my life. Yeah, it's because you've been feeding your lust. You're looking at naked woman after naked woman after naked woman on your social media, on your internet searches. In real life, you're staring at every other woman. And so then, yeah, by the time you look at your wife, you're like, it could be better. If looking at altered images affects women's self-esteem, if looking at women who have had a ton of work done affects women's self-esteem, you think men aren't impacted by looking at all these images? A good man will protect his eyes. He's not going to be out there staring at every other woman, fantasizing about every other woman. He knows that to protect his marriage, he will have self-control day in and day out, instead of being this like very lustful kind of guy. If a man tells me, oh, I'm just not attracted to my wife anymore, I already know what he's been looking at. I know that kind of man who falls out of love with his wife because he's not attracted to her anymore has fed his lust over and over and over. And that kind of man will never be satisfied.
100%. 100% I agree with this. This is a biblical thing and things of that sort. So, and it is in the New Testament. So it's Matthew 5:28. And as you guys know, most of you guys know, it's one of the more famous scriptures and things of that sort in history. But it is, it refers to the concept of lustful thoughts and desires, both being sinful in the eyes of God, and not just the physical act of adultery. So obviously, a lot of you people might look at, it's a sin to physically cheat. But it's also a sin, according to the Bible, to cheat within your heart and just view at people through a lustful lens in public. And if you don't want to view this through a kind of spiritual, or someone say religious, whatever the case might be, a faith-driven way, because you might not believe or might not go that way, I think just this is a practical practice. It makes sense practically, logically, because if you're constantly feeding yourself one thing, you are going to be obsessed with said one thing, right? If I constantly eat donuts, then my appetite, my taste buds would be to like lean donuts as opposed to leaning apple. If I constantly ate apples to the point where I started liking apples, guess what I'm gonna want? If like my teeth don't feel clean, or like if I just want a crisp, hard type of snack, excuse me, pause. If I want that, what am I gonna get? I'm gonna get an apple. I'm gonna get an apple. I'm not gonna get like a hard candy bar. You know what I'm saying? And that's because I've trained my appetite to sway one way. It's just a practical way, and things of that sort. So this is the actual verse from Matthew, and here's the NIV version. But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. And that's just the case. And I think that's what's going on here. What Tim Ross said, and what this young lady said as well, reacting to him on TikTok. So I agree with it. I think it's some good food for thought for today. And yeah, with that being said, that was pretty much last night's stream. I'm sorry that it didn't record any of the audio for me. I thought the audio was recording and the picture was just out, but no, the picture was out and the audio was out the entire time. So it was just quiet, except for the little few seconds that I was reacting to the video. So the actual live was 40 minutes. This is 26 minutes, so 14 minutes shorter. And then, you know, I got to go to work and things of that sort, which I'm on the clock for right now. But I'll see you guys tonight. I'll be back tonight, and hopefully I can give you more full live and things of that sort, where I want to honor the journalist who passed away as well yesterday. I want to honor her as well, Miss Lewis. So, you know, in her battle with cancer and things of that sort, I want to make sure I give her that just due process, that, you know, full tribute as a journalist and everything like that. I just want to salute her. So we'll be doing that tonight, in addition to some other things. And so make sure you tune in. Hopefully it's not too late. I'm trying not to stream too late anymore. I started that stream last night at 2:30 a.m. because I just did 1 a.m. pod, and some other stuff was going on with the Aces game and stuff. So hopefully it's not too late tonight when I start streaming, and hopefully you tune in. Until next time, as always, my name is Rashad Milligan. If you're new to the channel, this is the road to 5K subs. Have a good morning. Have a good day. Have a good afternoon. Have a good evening. Have a good night. And if no one else told you today, I care for you. Peace. See you tonight.
That's for losers, man. I don't get involved in that stuff, but
Angel Rashad Milligan rolling out.
That's a good question.
Brandon,
We can't ask Rashad questions.
Hey, Rashad.